Hi. Hello. My name is Madeline Mead, and I am doing a video presentation for my class ADC660 Addiction Counseling in Families. The video script here that I'm doing is one that is going through my weekend, and it's dealing with situations that I incurred and my feelings behind those situations, how I handled it. So I'll just begin. My first day of doing this exercise was a big day for situations and responses. I woke up early on Friday morning, as I usually do. I find that I am a creature of habit, and because of this, I always pray before getting out of bed and proceed to the kitchen for my morning coffee. This particular morning, however, did not get off to a good start. As I was leaving my bedroom to enter the kitchen to start my coffee, I was startled by seeing my front door ajar. I immediately panicked and started to yell for my youngest daughter, who recently moved back home. She was not there. I realized that she must have gotten up in a hurry, ran out and of the door without closing it well, and of course not locking it. My response at that point was extreme anger. I began to think about other times when she was irresponsible and thought that in my head that this is a very selfish child. I remember feeling such as this in the past whenever I felt that someone had either disrespected me or at the very least had not thought of me and my safety. And this is what I was feeling at this time. That same day, I had a situation where I went to the grocery store for some sale items that I had seen in the paper. As I was approaching one of the items, I noticed the lady was taking all of that particular item off the shelf. And I asked her nicely if she wouldn't mind letting me have two of the items, as there was at least 20 on the shelf. The woman gave me an "oh well" type of look and continued to remove the items, placing them in her basket. This angered me. I reached over her and grabbed four of the items instead of two and gave her an "I'll fix you" type of look and walked away. I heard her mutter, "Well, that was just rude." I turned to say something back at her, but I thought better of it and continued to walk away. Once I turned on to the next aisle, I suddenly thought the incident was funny. Now, this is a response that I have had for many years in situations like this one. I find myself feeling wounded, but if I can do something to come on out on top, I feel vindicated, and it somehow seems childish and funny after the fact. I think that this is one of my pet peeves, though. It's one it's one way that someone can definitely push my buttons. If they proceed to act as though my feelings don't matter. And this happens on daily. It can happen on a daily basis. I mean, not every day, but it can certainly happen often. It's one of the things that I know that I should probably work on more. And when I find myself in these type situations. Well, the following day was a Saturday. I woke up feeling really good as I opened my curtain, following my prayer, to a beautiful sunny day. I decided to turn the television on as I had my coffee. I was horrified to see breaking news about the shooting at the Jewish synagogue in Pittsburgh. I sat there in disbelief as I listened to the heinous crime. I started to feel such a big feeling of sadness as the information was talked about on CNN newscast. I can remember feeling this way before on occasions where there has been mass destruction or hearing about wrongful shootings or deaths on both sides of the law. I have always been passionate in my belief that in the U.S. Constitution that all men should have certain unalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I've even felt that way. I can remember myself feeling this way as a child. I was always taking up for the people whom I felt were being mistreated by others. After this situation, I had to leave home and try to enjoy some of this beautiful day. If someone wanted to push my buttons, it would be very easy by simply picking on someone or taking advantage of someone of lesser strength, whether physically or mentally. I think that a lot of this comes from having a sister with Down syndrome. She was a year older than me, but as a child, I didn't understand that she was different. I knew that she was my sister and I loved her. We were always close. We played together all the time. She took up for me as well as I did for her. If I had to choose, I would say that this is the easiest button that I have for someone to be able to push. The rest of my Saturday seemed to be turning around as I went to lunch with my daughter, not the one at home with me, as I was still a little angry with her about the door thing. And we decided to do a little shopping. Well, we walked through the boardwalk and through the park, and the day was just going fine. Just as I thought the day couldn't get better, I looked down and I saw a $100 bill laying in the grass. I quickly picked it up and showed it to my daughter, who, to my dismay, was doing the same thing. She also had found a $100 bill on the other side of the sidewalk. This was awesome. She looked around we looked around to see if there was someone frantically searching for lost cash, but there was no one. So we took the money and very happily went on our way. I think that my happy response to finding that money was typical, and I do remember feeling this way quite a few times when I found things that were nice or valuable or both. The remainder of the weekend was pretty laid back, except for having the opportunity to speak with my youngest daughter about how irresponsible she can be. I think that this situation can be better understood by mentioning the fact that when my daughter moved back home, she came with a friend in tow. She asked if this young man could stay with us for a few days because he had nowhere to go at the time. Needless to say, that was in June, and the young man is still here. I find myself feeling sorry for the young man because he has been around since my daughter was elementary school age. They call each other brother, sister, and although I do feel for him, I find myself angry and resentful because this arrangement was only supposed to be for a few days. Now, I have had talks with both of them about his having to figure out what he needs to do to move out, but the situation does not seem to be getting any better. I can definitely relate these feelings to ones that I have had in the past. I've often found myself lending a helping hand, and then after a while having feelings of resentment because it doesn't or doesn't turn out the way I planned. I see where I have problems with setting boundaries sometimes, and this just causes conflict in the long run. I have often felt that people were taking my kindness for weakness, yet I continue to remain quiet until I just really get fed up. I tend to stress about situations instead of facing them head on. I also believe that this only occurs when I'm dealing with people close to me. I have no problem with setting boundaries at work or defending myself with strangers. So ultimately, this is something that is very real, as a very real problem for me, and one that I know that I'll have to conquer in order to keep my stress level down. Thank you for chiming in. Once again, this is Madeline Mead. I am doing this script for ADC660, Addiction Counseling and Families, taught by Dr. Chelsea Hanson. This is Module 2 assignment, Aspen University. Thank you and goodbye.